First day of competition for the Strongmen here at the 2022 Rogue Invitational coming to a close at Dell Diamond. Their third event of the day features one of the most famous implements in all of Strongman in sandbag form. It's the Husafell Bag Carry. Thanks for staying with us, everybody, on Friday here at the Rogue Invitational. I'm Sean Woodland with Lawrence Chalet, and after two events, we've seen some great performances, but there's a big surprise on top of the overall standings. Trey Mitchell is our leader.
Trey Mitchell has come in incredible shape, and we've had two real static strength events. These are the events that suit someone like Trey. Now he needs to dig deep. This more conditioning type of event, if he can finish day 3 in first place, he's going to be super happy sleeping tonight.
Meanwhile, two men chasing him, Martins Litis and Oleksii Novikov, showing the consistency that they are so well known for.
Yeah, that's why we see them as the favorites. They are the consistent athletes, first and third place from last year. They need to keep proving that there's no weakness in their arsenal.
Oleksii Novikov is only half a point back of Trey Mitchell. Martins Litis sits in third, followed by Pavlo Nakonechnyy, who is just 6 points off the lead. And then Rob Kearney sits in 5th place. Event number 3 is the Rogue Husafell Sandbag Carry presented by GoRuck. Pretty simple, just carry this thing as far as you can.
Carry it as far as you can. It's a brutal event. We could well see athletes collapsing on this one. The two real things to contend with is the weight crushing down on their chest, so it's hard to get air in, and then it's that lactic acid buildup in the hamstrings, in the legs. They will feel like lead. It's a tough event, and it's a hard event to finish day 1 with.
Let's send it down to Kiki Dixon on the field.
The Husafell Sandbag is a nod to the Husafell Stone located in Iceland. It's a natural stone that weighs 410 pounds, and it's on a farm. The legend was born for the Husafell Stone when the farmer's daughter was able to pick it up and carry it. Now, while we don't have the goat pens for these guys to walk around, we do have some pylons for those athletes who are up for the challenge to pick up the sandbag and do a couple of laps.
Thank you, Kiki. 75 feet between those pylons. They have to go around them and back as many times as they possibly can with that 400-pound bag. There will be 5 men in each heat. The bottom 5 in the overall standings will start, and then the top 5 in the overall standings will be last.
And this is an event we could see some athletes that haven't performed so well on do exceptionally well. We've got Kevin Ferris, who's a fit athlete, and Eyþór Melstead, great performance in the dumbbell. He's carried the Husafell Stone a number of times. He's from Iceland, used the original Husafell Stone. He's very good with it. Let's see how he transitions into the sandbag.
Maxime Boudreau getting himself fired up. He comes in 9th place overall, looking to score some points here.
The first challenge is just getting this sandbag up as high as you can. Ideally, you want to get it high enough to get your hands around the sandbag. That can make a big difference. So they're all struggling there. They're not finding this easy.
Maxime Boudreau is the first man to take off with that thing.
Bobby Thompson not too far behind.
And Eyþór Melstead,
going
closest to the camera, is now past Bobby Thompson. There is no time gap here. Just carry this thing as far as you can.
Down.
And now Boudreau is done.
The first athlete out. Mitch Hooper took it was a while to get going, but he's now moving well.
Melstead is finished. He is your leader in the heat right now.
Bobby Thompson
is creeping up
hard
on him.
It's an amazing event, this one, because you don't have to be the fastest off the blocks. It's about how far you can carry it. And so far, Mitch Hooper is the only athlete to go 2 full distances.
Hooper's making the turn and coming back.
And Kevin Ferris moving well now. He goes down as well. This is a brutal event. It's
Hooper
just so
continuing to work.
Mitch has to put in a big performance. He's got 5 athletes that are all exceptional, and he wants to be a contender for this title. There we go. 3 lengths for Mitch Hooper. That's the target for our top 5 to chase.
225 feet for Mitch Hooper.
I think Mitch will be happy with that one. It's always tough going first. The other athletes coming up in our second heat will now have a target to beat. Having a target in this type of event is huge.
Hooper came in tied for 7th with Eyþór Melstead with 8.5 points, and Hooper is only 2.5 points back of Rob Kearney for a spot inside the top 5.
I'll tell you the really interesting thing there is Maxime Boudreau went out the quickest, but he actually went down first. And like I said, with this type of event, a target is important. You see that mark and it helps you push that a little bit further. And I have to say, even watching Mitch Hooper there, I think if he was in Heat 2 and saw that target at the end, he would have gone a little further.
Okay, so you're saying 58.
Trying to get the air in, still moving. But I think Mitch had more in him. And you watch that, he comes to the end and he just puts it down. He could have turned, could have got a few more steps in. He didn't go to the point of failing like some of the guys were collapsing. That could cost him in the overall. He still has 5 great athletes to go.
Well, so far in this competition, and we're about halfway through right now, but in the last 2 events, we've seen those last efforts, whether it be on a deadlift or on the dumbbell for Oleksii Novikov, really pay off and help lift people, a couple places in the standings.
When you're talking about the Rogue Invitational, you cannot hold back. It's such a tough competition. The standard is so high. Every single rep, every single foot counts.
225 feet unofficially for Mitch Hooper.
It's a great distance, but like I said, 5 awesome athletes to come.
We talked about perspective in event 1 with the 900-pound deadlift. That 400-pound bag, it takes 4 men and a net to move that thing back to the start.
It's such a dead weight as well. The sandbags are horrible things to hold. They just drain you with every single step that you take.
They're getting the bags reset for the second heat. Still measuring for official distances on some of these.
Bring you the official distances as soon as we know them.
30.4.
Okay,
Yeah.
copy.
Hooper.
Finalizing the scores for heat number 1 as the men for heat number 2 are coming out on the field. Trey Mitchell there, standing behind the men in the gray sweaters. He is your overall leader with 18 points, but it only has a half-point cushion on Oleksii Novikov.
And this could be a really interesting event for Trey. Traditionally, he's not built for this type of event, but he is a warrior. He's put in some serious training this year. His last competition he won, which was the Shore Classic. Since then, that confidence seems to be oozing out of him. The first 2 events we've had in this competition, he's performing exceptionally well. We've seen the strength. Now let's see the strength combined with the endurance.
Martin Oleksii, who used to lift stones around his grandparents' property in Latvia.
I'm interested in watching Pavlo Nakonechnyy on this one as well. He's got such a long wingspan. That's going to be an advantage on these bags. He's going to have the ability to get his arms wrapped around. If he can clasp his hands together, it's a big, big advantage.
Second heat is underway.
Out straight away.
Martins is the first man out.
He knows what target he wants to be. He'll be looking at Mitch Hooper's distance. That's what he's going to be aiming for first.
Pavlo Nakonechnyy was the 4th man on the bag, and he has already moved past his competition. He's at the left side of your screen making the turn.
Novikov taking a long time to get going there.
Rob Kearney in the tights.
Rob Kearney and Trey Mitchell very close to each other.
Oleksii Novikov is moving the other way as
Oleksii goes down.
Now it's down, and now Nakonechnyy is your leader on the field.
Nakonechnyy looking at Mitch Hooper's distance, and Nakonechnyy is storming up this course. Now there's no way he goes down just short.
Just short of Hooper's mark.
Rob Kearney's down, and it's just the last man. Novikov, he sees the target. Can he push himself? He's struggling, but he keeps going, stumbling along. He's looking at Nakonechny's distance. He's going to pass Nakonechnyy. Can he? Oh, he doesn't worry about Mitch. He gets second place.
He had already passed Trey Mitchell in the event, so this should be the overall lead right now for Oleksii Novikov heading into the second and final day of competition. Great effort from him and great awareness of where he was in relation to everybody else.
And that is huge for Mitch Hooper as well. Didn't do as well as he would have wanted on those first 2 events. I said I think he could have pushed even further, but he didn't need to. 225 foot for our win. We will get official distances of this second heat. Mitch Hooper, Novikov, Pavlo Nakonechnyy, and then is it Trey Mitchell?
Mitchell right now looks like he's in fourth, but there are some bags out there on the field that are really close to each other. The ones in the middle where the cameraman is standing, the one farthest towards the pylons on the left, that is Novikov's. Nakonechny's is the next one in. They're both right now listed at 200 feet.
We need to see where Oleksii finished in this one as well.
I think Oleksii was able to make the turn after completing 150 feet, but then the bag came down. He actually took a break during that race to re-grip it. Oleksii Novikov was one of the last men to get that bag hoisted.
Do you think that was tactical? I think it was. I think he was waiting to see where people went to give himself that target. You could see he really wanted to beat his countryman, Nakonechnyy. He was struggling there. He was looking across, looking for the distance, making sure he went past.
You talked about breathing. You can see just how hard that Oleksii Novikov was working to get air in and out of his lungs, the chalk coming off of the bag.
I kind of wonder if he forgot about Mitch Hooper there, because he looked like he was struggling, but he wasn't far away from that distance. And I think if he knew the marker was there, he could have potentially beaten that as well.
Mitch Hooper is going to be our event winner, and he is with Kiki Dixon.
Congratulations on your event win. What did it take physically and mentally to get the win?
Well, I had a couple of lackluster performances in the first two events. I'm a better athlete than I showed there, and I knew I needed the points. So at a certain stage, it's mind over matter. Lean back as far as you can and hold on for dear life.
You're a newcomer to the scene somewhat compared to some of the other athletes. What are you looking to get out of the Rogue Invitational?
Just experience. You know, this whole year for me has been getting into as many events as possible, getting exposed to as many things as possible. I mean, I'd never touched a dumbbell like that before. I'd never done a front carry before. So I just need to get into as many events as possible and just gain the experience and get around the guys and enjoy myself.
Well, you should be enjoying yourself, because congratulations on that event win.
Thank you very much.
With that, Oleksii Novikov is now your overall leader. Trey Mitchell falls down to second. Pavlo Nakonechnyy has vaulted up to third place. Martins Licis actually drops down 2 spots. He now sits in 5th. Mitch Hooper goes from 7th all the way to 4th with those 100 points.
That was a fantastic performance there for Mitch Hooper. He really needed those points. He said there in his interview he was disappointed with the first 2 events. Needs the big points. The big thing for me there is Martins Licis. 8 points off Oleksii Novikov. That's a big amount of points to be giving away at the end of day one. We expected day one to be good for Novikov. I think he'll be very, very pleased finishing the day with 26 points.
3 events remain. We are done with the first of 2 days of competition for the Strongmen. It will be a fun second and final day tomorrow. Mitch Hooper conquers the Husafell bag and picks up the event win and moves up 3 spots in the overall standings as a result. We are not done yet here at the Rogue Invitational. The final event for the CrossFit athletes, DT with a spin, coming up next.